Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the numerology and the energy for the new moon that's occurring on June 28th or 29th, 2022. So this, of course, is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading, please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the sort of overall collective energy, the numerology for the collective, which of course affects us all or has the potential to influence each of us. And then we're going to break it down into how these energies could influence each individual life path number. Okay, so looking at this illumination, the two most prominent energies being illuminated for this new moon are the energies of the 22-4, which is master level energy, and the 5. So these two energies can actually create a very complementary, sort of expansive, very beneficial synergy when they show up in a cycle together. So a lot of times when we think of master level energy 11, 22, 33, 44, etc., we tend to think of maybe like a lot of challenges or a lot of, it tends to be a little bit more difficult of energy to move through, but the triumphs are just as grand as the potential challenges, right? However, usually that's when we see it in more like life path energy or in a predominant energy throughout your numerology chart. When we see it come in as a cycle, 22 energy can actually be very forthcoming. It can be very, very beneficial energy. It can shower us in abundance. And basically it can be this sort of culmination of all the effort and energy that we've put forth coming to fruition now. And so it can, when we see it come up as a cycle, it's typically very big, powerful, abundant energy, and really a lot of rewards can come through with this energy. So it's really quite beautiful to see it come through in a cycle. And especially if you've been dealing with like 4 energy or anything that's been slow moving, seeing this come through in a cycle or an illumination is beautiful and very welcomed. That's not to say that, challenges and whatnot might not come up. Of course, it's still master level 22 energy, so it's always possible. And of course, it depends on where in the cycle it's falling for you. So if you're at the end of a cycle, then you'll see things come to culmination, come to fruition, and you can sort of be showered in those rewards. If it's the beginning of a cycle for you, and sort of like that germination or gestation sort of initiation period, then it could be the start of a journey that could have some challenges, and that's okay too, right? Because again, the effort that you put forth will, determine sort of the rewards at the end of the journey. So anyway, I just want to mention that because a lot of times when we say there's 22 or 11 or 33 or whatnot energy, it can create a little bit of anxiety just because sometimes that is equated to a little bit more challenging energy. But in this site, it's a cycle, it's an illumination. So has the potential to be beautiful, abundant energy. And then we couple that with the 5, which is just very big, fast moving, expansive, abundant, really freeing energy. And so it's just incredibly beautiful put together. So again, just creates this very powerful synergy that I love to see. So I'm excited for this illumination, to be honest. So this is a fantastic time for big, huge dreams to come true now. As a temporary vibration, again, the 22-4 implies completion on a grand scale, in a very tangible, sort of emotionally fulfilling way. So this isn't lost somewhere in the ether. This isn't energy that's just an idea. This is fulfillment or success on a huge scale. And again, sort of reaching those very real, practical goals now. So, and again, this is a general reading, so it's not going to affect everybody the same way, but it does have the potential to bring this this level of fulfillment, this level of, again, culmination, which is incredibly powerful and beautiful. So we all have the potential to sort of reap these rewards. So this is a great time for making those dreams a reality. And that sounds really cliche, but really this is just such fertile energy to do that you're either, again, could potentially see this come to your dreams come to culmination now, come to fruition, reaping those rewards, reaping that, bringing in that abundance. Or this is going to be a time to really, really initiate, really get started on those big dreams and turning them into something tangible, something within the reality. So this is going to be something that you would have been working on. For those of you that this comes in as some kind of culmination or something coming to fruition, this is going to be something that you would have been working on or with a lot of dedication and a lot of perseverance. And that persistence is paying off in a very tangible way now. So because this is a new moon, which again often symbolizes gestation, inception, planning, or starting something new, it is again very possible for some that this is the beginning of the process that will push you towards accomplishing those big dreams and goals now. So for some, you are now being asked to make the big plans, dare to dream big, and bring those secret desires into the spotlight and make something of them now. With this master level energy of the 22, this isn't something that comes easy necessarily or without us sort of being at the helm of our own ship. We take full responsibility for navigating the stream, where we want it to go and, how we want it to be built. And it's our responsibility to see it through to fruition. So if we can do that, and if we continue to feel the fire and fuel the fire and move towards that and overcome any obstacles that we face, then we can reap the rewards and the wisdom with an accomplished spirit, knowing that we created something tangible from the ether by following our inner compass and our wildest dreams to make it happen. So with that said, 22-4 energy is an energy of collaboration, okay? So this is going to be a time for working with others, sharing ideas with others, asking for assistance. That's a big one, especially with 22-4 energy. That can be challenging for 4 energy as well. It can be challenging. It's a very independent energy. And so it very much wants to sort of do it its own way. And again, it has the vision and it thinks it knows how to get to that end goal. But specifically with the 22-4 energy, it is a collaborative energy. And so it's kind of like to be able to meet these big, lofty goals, it's not something that can be done independently. It's something that has to be, there has to be more energy around this, if that makes sense. So this is not something where it's like you're going to be sort of holed up on an island somewhere. This is going to be something where you need to recognize your own sort of limitations and ask for assistance or guidance when you feel you need it, right? So there's no sort of reward with this energy for swallowing or, being very prideful and being like, I'm going to do it all myself and I'm going to do it the right way or whatever, right? This isn't a very ego-driven energy, right? So it's kind of like if we are driven by our ego or full of pride and we know we need to ask for assistance, but we fail to do so, we're just not going to hit the mark. We're just not going to be able to produce this big lofty energy that the 22 sort of demands. And so again, it's going to be about really a lot of inner work as well to recognize our own limitations and recognize where we don't have all the answers. We don't have all of, everything that we need necessarily within the physical to be able to create whatever this is. And so again, it's going to push us to ask for assistance, ask for help, ask for guidance where we need it. Again, we're not meant to achieve something this grand on our own for solely our own benefit. The integrity of whatever this is will need to come from you, but you are not meant to do whatever this is alone. So share your ideas, learn something new. We will be both the student and the teacher under this energy. So we are meant to embrace it all and recognize it all, right? With the added influence of the 5, we know that change, flux, and transformation are all possible at any time under this illumination. So the key here is to be as adaptable as possible. If your sort of big tangible reward comes in, but looks different than what you had expected, that doesn't mean the overall benefits are diminished in any way. Broaden your scope of acceptance now. How can you find ways to work with whatever you are being presented with now? The 5 energy also brings the expansiveness, the wide open fields to run and play and explore. With this big, expansive energy comes the tendency to sometimes fall into extremes, and self-doubt can also creep in, and we can, become overly restrictive, right? We can fall to that extreme where we've got, again, just sort of that overly restrictive tendency. Or we can fall to the other extreme of overindulgence and sort of scattered energy. And so moderation, again, is always going to be key with 5 energy. So find ways to, be a kid, play in the clouds while also staying grounded. This is also a very practical energy, but very emotive with the double 2s. So again, with 22-4 energy, we have those double 2s. So this is very, very sensitive, very emotive energy. So you may find that you feel sort of hypersensitive at this time. Honor those emotions, move through them, but manage them so that you're not reacting from a hyper emotional space that can sometimes create unnecessary rifts with others. Communication can work wonders during this time. So the strong charge of emotions can sometimes cloud the reality of what is actually taking place or what's actually being said. So use discernment to better understand what's actually occurring, sort of the reality of the situation, and sort of what's happening through the lens of charged emotions. Be able to decipher between the two, and then work with that energy appropriately. So overall, collectively, this can be an incredibly abundant, successful, wish-fulfilling period, whether you're reaping the rewards of your journey completed or you're sort of getting the green light to fully embark on a new one. So make the most of this fantastic cycle because, like I always say, the energy can be present, but it's what we do with it that makes all of the difference. Okay, before we get into the individual life path numbers, I did pull an animal spirit message for this illumination, and we got moose spirit. And I love this because moose energy is bringing with it this energy of like engagement, boldness, and commanding attention. If you've ever seen a moose in the wild, they actually say that moose are one of the animals that you should be the most sort of not afraid of, but aware of, because they sort of spook very easily. And once they get spooked, they sort of, they are sort of driven by their emotions, right? That fear or whatever. And so they can create some damage, not necessarily with the intention of doing so, but just because they got spooked, right? And so it's one where if you see a moose in the wild, you really need to create a lot of space between the two because they are very fast runners. They will command your attention, and they will protect their space, right? Especially if they have young, which is with any wild animal. But what's interesting with this energy is, again, we have engagement, boldness, and commanding attention coming through. And so what I'm really getting with this is, again, this energy of the 22-4 of this is big, bold energy. This is not energy where you're just sort of complacent and just sort of idle and sitting back and just letting whatever these rewards are, whatever come to you. These are things that you have sought after, you have went after, right? Like you have really pursued and you have been ambitious about and persistent about. This is the rewards for your efforts. And so again, if you are somebody who is sort of at the end of this cycle and you're seeing things come to fruition, then you can expect the rewards, the sort of reaping a harvest in direct proportion to what you have sown, right? And so again, if it has been done more independently, then, there's going to be some limitations there. And so again, what you reap is going to be equated to what you've sown. But if this was a collaborative effort, if this was something that, you were open to other ideas, other perspectives, integrating those ideas and those perspectives and that experience and wisdom into your journey, into the project, then again, it just adds to the energy and adds to what you could potentially see come in to fruition now. If you are starting a cycle and you've got this 22-4 energy and the energy of the 5 behind you, then I would take Moose's message to heart. Again, embracing that boldness, that commanding attention, meaning that you're a driving force in this project, this vision, whatever this is. Like, you have to maintain the integrity behind whatever this is. This is your seed. This is your vision. This is your baby, so to speak. And so you are at the helm of your ship. You have to decide what direction it moves into. Now you can get, again, guidance, assistance from the Coast Guard, right? Or from other ships and boats, right? It's a camaraderie, right? It's like a collaboration of sorts. But at the end of the day, you are the commander. You are the one in charge. And so you will reap the rewards of this energy. But again, it's going to be in direct proportion to the efforts put forth. And so again, if you've ever seen a moose in the wild, and even if you haven't, just watch a video of them. They have a very commanding presence. They're these massive, especially full-grown bulls. They are these massive creatures who are not to be underestimated, right? And that's really the energy of the 22, to be completely honest. And then you've got the energy of the 4, which is very ambitious energy and very determined and persistent. And so just a lot here about getting that fire lit beneath you and grabbing the reins and being very commanding about what it is that you want and how you need to get there, and not being afraid to ask for help and assistance, right? Swallow the pride and go for what it is that you want at this time. So definitely, if you feel sort of mild or timid in your approach, then just think of moose energy and sort of, again, that commanding energy. So, okay, let's take a look at each individual life path number now. Life path 22-4. So this is going to be potentially a period for you to reevaluate your present circumstances. And so you're going to feel, everything that potentially, right? This is a general reading, but you're going to potentially, or have the potential to feel the influences of the 22-4 and the 5, the way that I spoke about them for the collective. But there's also this added energy for 22s. Now, of course, this is your energy, right? So you're really going to probably be feeling it a little bit more pronounced, or because it's your energy, typically this might just be like another run-of-the-mill cycle. But I do think there's going to be some pronounced energy here for you all that's going to ask you to reevaluate your present circumstances. So in other words, kind of like checkpoint energy, where you're being just asked to see what is working, what isn't working, how am I contributing, and does that feel good, does it not feel good? What can I switch up? What can I change up? Do I need to change direction? What does that look like? Are my relationships healthy? If they're not healthy, do I need to have some communication around how they need to change, or what I need, or do I need to be open to and listen to the needs of my partner, my friends, my family, whatever, right? Could I collaborate more than what I'm doing currently? Again, such a big energy of the 22-4 is about collaboration. It's just such big energy. And so again, just like I talked about in the intro, you're not meant to do this work alone. You need to collaborate. You need to ask for assistance. You need to brainstorm, share ideas, take somebody else's idea and build on that, right? And so I do think that this energy is really going to be energy or this illumination is really going to be a checkpoint for 22/4s, to just reevaluate, just make sure things are in check. If everything's good and golden, great, then just keep going, right? But if there are some areas where you need to make some adjustments, and this is going to be the time to do it, it's very much supported at this time. Now, you could also notice at this time, because again, this is a 22/4 cycle. And so as a cycle, this is like, it's like it's a very benefic energy. And so anything that you have been working on tediously and persevering through and all of those things, right, that just sort of is 22/4 energy. Because, it can kind of feel like if you're a 22/4, it can kind of feel like you just never catch a break. This is an energy or a cycle where the break is now, the break is coming in, things are coming to fruition. You're seeing the tangible results for all of that hard work and all those efforts. And it's not incredibly often that we get a 22/4 cycle. And so, I think that definitely take advantage of it, right? Now, if this was, I will say, if this was a 22/4 cycle within your own forecast, right? Like your own personal forecast, that is even more significant. So just another good reason to have your forecast run, right? And I do offer that on my website. Anyway, so I do think that this is going to be a possible cycle for you all, where you will notice an increase in your status or your finances or your opportunity to collaborate to move towards that increase, right? You might also notice that answers sort of come in, or clarity comes in for you now that gives you a greater perspective, and that assists you on your journey, on this vision, whatever this is, right? So this can also be an incredibly emotional, intuitive period. 22/4s are, again, sort of by default, very emotional beings. There's a lot going on beneath the surface there. And a lot of times, friends, family, whatever, they don't necessarily see that more sensitive side of the 22, because it's also such a very practical energy. But it's there. 22/4s are very sensitive, just by nature. And so things affect 22/4s very, very deeply. And so it's very important to continue to move through that and work through that, but also to recognize it and embrace your more emotional, intuitive side. So you may notice that during this cycle, you feel more intuitive, you feel more even psychic, you feel more emotional, and that's okay. Just move through it, work with it. Just make sure that you're not making decisions necessarily from a hypersensitive space, because you may end up regretting that, right? So you just want to make sure that you're coming back to the reality of the situation and taking a look at it from a very, from a clear perspective. But definitely honor any intuitive insights that come in at this time, any emotions that show up for you or surface, definitely honor that. This can also be a very strong karmic cycle for 22s. So either it's ending or a beginning of a karmic cycle. And karmic cycles are not necessarily always bad, right? Or challenging. Sometimes it's a karmic cycle can be when we meet the love of our life, right? And this person teaches us how to love and how to receive love. It can be incredibly beautiful, incredibly, incredibly beautiful. I believe that every person that we meet, as far as that really comes into, anytime we feel a really strong energetic connection with somebody, I do believe that there's some kind of lesson there to be learned. But the lesson doesn't have to be a hard one, right? It's kind of like you liked some classes in college or high school and you didn't like other ones, right? So it's like, I personally, which is funny because I'm a numerologist, but I personally didn't like math, but I loved art and English. And so, it's kind of like the same thing with life. There's going to be those lessons that come in that are algebra, but then there's going to be, and we don't really like those ones, but then there's going to be those lessons and those karmic experiences that come in that's more poetic and more artistic. And maybe we really like those ones, right? So again, karma is not always something to fear, right? I don't think it's ever anything to fear. But anyway, so this can be a karmic cycle as well. So either a karmic cycle closing out, and you may see if it's something ending, a karmic cycle ending, you may see that experience or that person or whatever sort of fall away from your experience, so that you can start the next cycle, and so that the next karmic cycle can come in. And so that void will be filled type thing. So just move through anything that comes up for you at this time, because it can be a sort of an emotional period for you. But again, it can be a really exciting, invigorating time as well if it's a new karmic cycle beginning. So pay attention to the opportunities that present themselves, the people that present themselves at this time, because they could be significant. Let's see. So the other thing for this energy for you all 22s is that you will find that others at this time are ready and willing to assist you. Now remember, this is 22-4 energy, that this is the cycle that we're in. And so this is your energy. And so you're going to be sort of like radiating at this time, like in a good way, right? Like just kind of people are going to be drawn to your energy because they're just feeling it anyway. So people are going to be almost more open and willing to assist. But the key here is, which is the most difficult thing for 22s, is that you actually have to ask for the assistance, right? Like, or accept it if somebody else offers you something. Accept that generosity. This is a great, great time for collaborations. It's almost you're almost going to potentially feel compelled to collaborate at this time. So not necessarily forcing anything, but this is a great time to start conversations, to network, to brainstorm, to come up with new ideas to collaborate. This is the most beautiful cycle to do that in. Let's see, this is a great time to share your rewards and your experiences with others. This cycle gives you a great opportunity to do that. So you get to decide what that looks like for you, right? How best to do that. So that can be through teaching or volunteering or sharing your resources, through philanthropy or something like that. It comes up to you. But I do feel like for a lot of 22s, this is going to be a cycle that is very rewarding, that you start to really see those tangibles coming in, sort of like, again, that financial reset, or that financial sort of, not even reset, it's just sort of like, again, the things coming to fruition, you reaping what you have sown. And so one thing with being a master level energy is, again, especially the master level energy and the 9 are really meant to circulate this energy, right? Like to continue to, reap the rewards, but also share those rewards. And so again, it's up to you how you do that. But I do think you'll have an opportunity to do that at this time, especially if great rewards come in at this time and great abundance. There's also this potential for some of you to have sort of a feeling at this time of discontent. Now, if the feeling of discontent surfaces, that's really requiring of you to set new priorities and to set new goals. And so this, again, is a beautiful cycle to do that. This is your cycle. So if you feel discontent in any area of your life, again, remember, this is going to be a checkpoint. This is going to be an opportunity to really take a look at your circumstances and see, like, what am I not happy with? What am I happy with? And let me continue to do more of that and build on that. But what am I not happy with? Where do I feel like I'm fizzling out, or things are fizzling out, or I feel depleted, or whatever? And really take some time to spend with that and to decide, what do you need to do with that? Because this is going to be a beautiful time for 22s to set those new intentions, to set those new priorities and those new goals. And sometimes that means releasing someone or something in order to be able to do that. So I do think that you're going to get the opportunity to do that. So you just need to be aware of it and utilize the energy to its fullest. This is your time to shine, 22s. So enjoy this cycle and use it to its fullest. All right, 22s, take care, everyone. Bye for now.